It should come as no surprise to my friends and viewers that trading card games have always had a very special place in my heart. In this series, both Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. Every week we will add an additional core set to our collections, moving in chronological order. We will use these cards to create a deck and then face off against one another in a best 2 out of 3 match, with the winner receiving 2 prizes to upgrade their deck, while the loser receives 1. These prizes can range from wildcards, to sealed product, to starter decks, and more. Every card that has been released will be available to us at least once. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to banish into the Shadow Realm, and even the way the very rules of the game will change, will keep our decks and our duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Well, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally here. We are at the April 2005 ban list, or as many of you may refer to this, the GOAT format list. This is the set list that has gained immense popularity ever since the GOAT format became a popular retro set. And this is the set list that we're going to have for this episode in the Lost Millennium. So this is an interesting episode just because this is one of the most popular ban lists of all time, and we are going into GX, which many old school players remember. The GX sets are notorious for being awful. That said, there are a couple of things coming up that we can try to do to make things more interesting. In our case, we have 3 polymerization, so depending on what we hit, we might actually be able to make something interesting. So, let's go through the quick changes for this list, and let me tell you, there are a lot of them. Now, granted, we are still playing traditional format, so all of these cards that are now forbidden, we still have 1 copy of, aside from the ones that have been banned. But this is the set that had Fiber Jar, Magical Scientist, Makiura the Destructor, Butterfly Dagger Elma, Change of Heart, Confiscation, Mirage of Nightmare, Painful Choice, and the Forceful Sentry all get banned. This also had Different Dimension Warrior Lady, Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, Sandgan, Delinquent Duo, Graceful Charity, Lightning Vortex, United We Stand, Deck Devastation Virus, and Mirror Force all get limited to 1 copy. Abyss Soldier, Dark Scorpion Chick the Yellow, Night Assailant, Vampire Lord, Emergency Provisions, Level Limit Area B, Upstart Goblin, Good Goblin Housekeeping, and Gravity Bind all go to 2, and Morphing Jar number 2 actually goes to unlimited. This is a huge ban list, and the fact that this one is pretty much the GOAT format staple is so much fun to play in that environment. However, for us, there really isn't a whole lot to focus on, but there is going to be some stuff to pay attention to. Now that being said, it's time for us to talk about the Lost Millennium, and this set is notable for right here, the introduction of the Elemental Heroes. We have 3 polymerization, and if we can make Jade and Yuki proud, we will. Each of them have certain traits that make them kind of nice in some cases. Clayman's a good defender at 2k. Sparkman's probably the best in terms of attack power, so but realistically, if we don't have the fusions available to us, then these guys, aside from Clayman, are probably not going to be seen. Scrolling through here, there are actually a couple of other key cards we want to see. Monk Fighter and its little assorted combo is something I really don't want to see, and I'm hoping Rai doesn't hit enough of it, because this is basically something that just stalls the game out and makes it unfun. Death Wombat is actually a very important side deck card, because as long as it's face up on your side of the field, any damage you take from a card effect drops to 0. This basically is a good way to shut down Rise Burn deck, which, granted, we've banned a lot of it already, but even still, this will be a good way to basically add the nail in the coffin. Scrolling through the rest of the comments, really there isn't anything else that's too spectacular. However, Lone Wolf is the one card we have to keep a close eye on, because if the only monster you control is a Chusuke the Mouse Fighter, a Monk Fighter, or a Master Monk, then you could flip this up. That monster can't be destroyed in battle, and it's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. Which basically means if Rai has this out, and only that monster, we are going to have a lot of trouble getting rid of him. And we really don't want to have to deal with that. Another card we may potentially have to deal with is Mispolymerization. And this is only if we're focusing on elemental heroes. It activates when a fusion monster is special summoned, and then you send all face-up fusion monsters back to their respective extra deck. The reason this is a big deal is because Rai does not have any polymerization. He may side this in case we are actually running a fusion-heavy deck. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Looking at the rare cards for this set, we actually have a couple interesting ones. Hero Signal's a good one to help get an elemental hero monster out if you lose something in battle. And DD Survivor is actually really good because if it's banished, then you could bring it back to the field at the end of the turn. So it's actually a pretty good card to deal with in case someone decides to try to pull some kind of banish strategy later on. And there actually is another interesting card here. It's called Elemental Mistress Doriado. And the reason this is an interesting card is because it is a very weak monster, but it has the effect of being treated as every attribute except for Dark. Now, the reason I say this is a cool, interesting thing is because a couple episodes back, we pulled a couple of cards called Fu Rin Kazan. And what that card does is, if you have a monster of wind, fire, water, and earth on the field, you could either Pot of Greed, Harpy's Feather Duster, Raigeki, or Delinquent Duo. Elemental Mistress Doriado fills that requirement all in one card. And the best part is, she doesn't get destroyed in the process. So, if we have 3 copies of that on the field and we summon her out, we can pull off 3 of those effects all at once, which is really good. There is actually another card that does a similar thing called Elemental Burst, and it destroys all cards the opponent controls. The problem is you have to sacrifice a monster of wind, water, earth, and fire, which means you actually can't use Doriado for this because she would only count as one of those 4 monsters. So, unfortunately for us, she can't fill that role, but given what she can do, that might be something fun to give a try. Up here in the super rares, we actually have only 2 that are really notable. The first is Mega Rock Dragon, which you summon by banishing rock monsters in your graveyard, and for every rock monster you banished, then it gains 700 attack and defense. The problem is, if this card gets its effect negated for any reason, its attack drops to 0, and it stays that way. But if we want to play a rock deck, this actually could be a fun little card to work with. And the other key card is Brain Control. Now, once again, we're playing pre-errata, so what this card really reads is, pay 800 life points, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and take control of it until the end phase. So, in other words, this works out kind of well for us in the sense of getting a monster for a Monarch, or getting a monster that we could just simply take control of, hit him in the face, and then either that finishes the game, or we could try to sack it off for a monster. So, that'll be kind of interesting. And then finally, looking into the ultra rares, they have 4 of them. And the only ones we really care about are the Elemental Hero Flame Wingman and Thunder Giant, because these are our fusions. If we could pull these, we could build that deck. Ancient Gear Golem admittedly is actually not that bad. It can't be special summon, which kinda sucks, but it deals piercing damage at 3k attack, which is good. And if it attacks, your opponent can't activate spell or traps until the end of the battle. So, also really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this. So we're going to go ahead into the pack opener and see what we can hit. Alright. So we have 24 packs of the Lost Millennium. Admittedly, I am not expecting a whole lot out of this, but you never know. We might actually hit the absolute nuts. So let's flip our first pack to see, and right away, nothing really spectacular. That kind of sucks. Alright, so there's our first Sparkman, which is kind of good. And Shifting Shadows is actually an interesting spell card. You can activate it once per turn, pay 300 life points, and take all of the monsters that you have face down in defense mode, and you could actually shift them around, rearrange them, and then set them back face down. The reason this is actually kind of neat is because there are a couple of monsters, like say Moai Interceptor Cannons, for example, that's a rock monster, that flips itself back face down, and basically it's a good way to get it to where you could tell your opponent, hey, you're either going to hit a big wall again, or you could try to hit like my Magician of Faith, but you have to guess where it is again. And given the fact that the rock deck is entirely focused mostly on having your opponent ram into your defense monsters, this can actually be an interesting little combo for that. There's our first Clayman. We're kind of needing more of them, but 4 packs in, that's not too bad. Pretty much the only good thing out of this pack, though. Okay, so hitting Hero Signal, that's actually not too bad. And if we hit the rest of the Hero Core we need, and we hit another copy of Signal, then we'll be in some pretty good shape there. Oh man, okay, so we hit our first Doriato, which is kind of nice. Another Clayman, which is good. We hit Avion, which is good. And our first holo is Hierarcho Sphinx. This is honestly not the best of cards. It's a 1 tribute monster with 2400 attack, which isn't the worst, but its effect is your opponent can't target a face-down defense monster as an attack target. Which, under normal circumstances, is okay, but realistically, it's not that great. And on top of that, you're playing a rock deck, so you kind of want your opponent to hit into your defense monsters anyway. So, kind of an interesting card, but honestly, we're probably never going to touch this thing. Okay, so second Hero Signal, that's good. We're full up on Clayman now, so that's good to see. And we hit a Monk Fighter, so I guess that's not too bad. But, yeah, overall, this is definitely not as popular of a pack as I was hoping to be. Looking at the next pack, and it looks like it's pretty much more of the same, which is not good for us. Oh, come on! Okay, so, first off, Ultimate Rare Royal Surrender. Of all the cards for us to hit, that is not one I was really interested in at all. The fact that that's an ultimate rare too makes it even worse. So yeah, this only works if your opponent activates a continuous trap card, which, I mean, it's not the worst of things, but still. Also, fun note, we're 14 packs in. This is only the second holo we've seen, and on top of that, we have not seen a single Burstinatrix yet. That's actually very concerning. Okay, seriously, fuck the monkey's paw. Seriously, fuck it. Okay, so we hit Burstinatrix finally. And our next / third holo is fucking Card of Sanctity. So for those of you who don't really play the game that much or didn't play it very much back then, you might just know the anime version of Card of Sanctity, which was both players draw until you're holding 6 cards. Sounds like a great effect, right? Well, guess what? When we got it in the TCG, that is not what Konami gave us, because, plot twist, that would have been way too goddamn broken. Instead, what it makes us do is banish every card we control, and in our hand, note, minimum 1 from each, and then you draw 2 cards. So what this means is that you have to have at least 1 card in your hand and 1 card on the field, and then you banish everything to draw 2. This is considered one of the most absolutely neutered effects gone from the anime to real life, and this is hands down considered one of the worst cards in the entire game. And the fact that we just pulled it is even more depressing. God, that sucks. Well, there's our third hero signal, so I guess I can at least be happy about that. Just, god damn it, man. I'm still mad about that card of Sanctity. Are you joking? Okay, so, second Burstinatrix, that's a nice sight. Fourth card. Fourth holo, third ultimate rare, spell stopping statute. This is not good. First off, we already have 3 of this, because it's a rare. And it only works when your opponent activates a continuous spell card. So I mean, maybe Rai might want to use this if we use Wave Motion Cannon, but aside from that, it is completely worthless to us. Crap. Well, there's our third Burstinatrix and our second Doriado, so I guess we can at least take that. I mean, granted, we still have none of the fusions for the heroes, so this is going to be a depressing pull. Like, unless the next 2 packs have something massive for us. And yeah, this one didn't even have shit, so we might end up running King of the Skull Servants at this rate, because there is nothing else going on here. So we've got 1 pack left. Let's see what we can hit. Can we have something good? No. We cannot. Oh, God. I mean, I guess we at least have the backbone for the heroes for later, because we are going to have access to the side sets in the future, so once we get access to Duelist Pack Jane Yuki, we'll have a chance at the heroes again, but this is just depressing as hell. Well, I guess we'll get into deck at end and see what we could come up with. Okay, so here's the deck list for today's duel, and God, let me just say, I came into the Lost Millennium with some very low expectations, and I still managed to get disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I knew that the hero fusions were a bit of a stretch because they were both ultras. I get that. But I only hit 2 Death Wombat and 1 copy of Doriado's Blessing, which is the ritual spell for Elemental Mistress Doriado. Both of those are commons. They are the only commons that I did not end up with a playset of from those packs. So, basically, right now I'm not as concerned about Death Wombat because, you know, I don't think Rai's going to be focusing too heavily on burn right now. But the fact that I can't even rely on the Doriado strategy as an option is kind of crap. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to give this a shot. And yeah, we're going to have some fun and bring back the Moki Moki. We're going to give it a second try. So, let's go for the card by card. 2 copies of Magician of Faith. This is because we have quite a lot of spells to work with here. And there's actually a new bit of fun we can do with this card now. And we'll talk about that in a moment. 1 copy of Sangan, 1 copy of Witch. These will be able to help us pull up some of the cards in our deck, as well as help thin it out a little. 3 copies of Dark Blade, 3 copies of Elemental Hero Clayman, 3 copies of Elemental Hero Sparkman, 3 copies of Insect Knight, 3 copies of Moki Moki, and 3 copies of Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness. The reason for these is quite simple. Dark Blade, Insect Knight, and Sea Serpent Warrior all have high attack. That's literally it. Sparkman and Clayman is there primarily, well, Clayman's there for a good defense, but these 2 are basically here to give Rai the impression that we have Thunder Giant, which may make him try to focus a little more towards that. If we can make him side in Mispolymerization and make him waste a couple of deck slots, that'll be perfect. And then Moki Moki's here for our main power. We have, for our spells, 1 Confiscation that we pulled in our Dark Beginning packs recently, which is going to be good. We pay 1,000 life points, we look at our opponent's hand, discard a card from it. 1 copy of Graceful Charity, 2 copies of Harder Than the Other Dog, 1 copy of Heavy Storm, 1 Metamorphosis. Here's where that Magician of Faith comes in. We could use this on Magician of Faith or on Moki Moki, and we could pull up one of the 2 copies of Thousand Eyes Restrict that we actually got from Dark Beginning 1. Yeah, we actually have 2 of these now, so we can actually try that. 2 copies of Moki Moki Smackdown. I feel like Moki Moki's not going to be as big of a option for us right now, but hey, if we can still pull this off, that'll be fun. 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Raigeki, 1 Swords of Revealing Light. Yeah, finding out that it's actually limited still kind of sucks because that second copy is not going to do anything for us, but oh well. 1 copy of the Forceful Sentry. Again, we picked this up in Dark Beginning 1, and this is a good one. We look at our opponent's hand, pick a card from it, shuffle it back into their deck. No cost. Between this and Confiscation, Rai is going to be mad when he finds out we pulled these. And 1 copy of United We Stand. This is actually here primarily because if we could get a couple of our monsters out, throw United We Stand on here, and it turns our guy into a big beef stick. Into a big old beat stick on him. So, unfortunately, well actually, wait a minute. There we go. We got ourselves an improvement now. So, for the traps, we have 2 copies of Astral Barrier, 1 Call of the Haunted. This will help bring back one of our monsters if we need to. In our first game, probably bring back a Moki Moki if we have to. 2 copies of DNA Surgery. This is part of the reason why we're going to do the Moki Moki strategy first off. Because with this, we could flip it, make everything a fairy, and boom. Moki Moki works. Game 2 and 3, we can swap this out. 2 copies of Meteor Rain, which will give our monsters piercing for the turn. And yeah, given the fact that we're going to give one of our monsters the power to go Oonga Boonga big time, Meteor Rain's honestly a no-brainer. And I'm kind of kicking myself for not thinking about it earlier. 2 copies of Spirit Barrier. With this and Astral Barrier, we'll be able to keep ourselves perfectly safe. And 1 copy of Ultimate Offering, because if we're going to have a whole bunch of monsters in our hand, we might want to try to summon some of them out. For our side deck, again, most of it's not too important. The Thousand Eyes Restrict is probably the big thing to pay attention to now. And honestly, that's probably about it. Like, if we really want to be goofy, we could always... Well, no. We can't even do that. We don't have polymerization anymore, so... So yeah, Thousand Eyes Restrict's basically the only thing that matters. But having a full fusion deck means that Rai doesn't know that we didn't pull any of the heroes. Because we have a fairly full fusion deck all the time anyway. And then for the side deck, 1 copy of Exile Force, 1 copy of Sinister Serpent. Yeah, if it really comes to it with Graceful Charity and we feel like we have to discard, we'll bring that in. But honestly, I feel like at this point it's kind of less important. 3 Book of Moon in case we want to go a little more defensive oriented. 1 Dark Hole. 1 Enemy Controller. 2 Order to Charge. I kind of wish we had 3 of these. You could target a normal monster you control that isn't a token, tribute it afterwards, and if you do, you destroy a monster your opponent controls. The nice thing about this is, you target your monster to start with as cost. So, if we flip this up and target one of our normal monsters, if Rai negates this card, we don't lose the monster, which is kind of nice, and I like the fact that they worded it that way. 1 copy of Magic Cylinder, 1 Ring of Destruction, 2 Sakuretsu Armor, and 2 Threatening Roar. These are going to be basically if we want to go a bit more aggro/defensive. I know that's a weird way to say it that way, but basically these will be the stuff we take out the Moki Mokis, the Smackdowns, and DNA Surgeries for. So, do I expect this to go out? Well, hell to the no. But, it's Lost Millennium, it's GX, it's going to suck. We're going to do what we can to make it a little more fun and suck less. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in a while, I get to say, it's time to get your game on.
So I have one question for you. Demon, are you ready to get your game on? I'm sure you are with the sleeves.
Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be something to try out, and the fact that we're finally into GX era is going to be so much fun. That being said, this is going to be a slog of episodes.
Oh, it will. Like, these sets are just complete dog shit. The next one's good, but there are a ton of packs that are just complete garbage.
Yeah, they're like Cyber Evolution is pretty good. The rest of them, it's like one good card and that's it.
Just about. Like, there was one, maybe two good cards in this set. I guess I'll be going second this time. Good luck, duelist.
Good luck. All right, I'm gonna draw. Standby main. I think I'm just gonna start by setting a monster and passing.
Draw for turn, standby, main. My hand is not very good either. I'm gonna set 3 and tap.
Ooh, okay. Draw. God damn it, that is not what I wanted to see.
You gonna flip that Cyber Jar, buddy?
Oh, I wish it was a Cyber Jar. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and set another monster.
Interesting.
It seemed to work fine for me earlier.
Draw for turn, standby, main. Go!
Okay. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, Go.
Great gameplay. Draw for turn, standby, main. Go! What exciting gameplay we have today!
Oh, for Christ's sake, this is not what I want to see. Screw it. I'm gonna fire off my heavy now.
I'm gonna compulse this set.
Alright.
Then you're gonna get my tornado and my judgment.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just set a monster. Could be anything.
Draw for turn, standby, main. Well, if you have it, you have it. Let's go!
Ah, shit.
Boop. 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 So that's a 2400 quad attack piercer.
Looks like it.
If you have Old Vindictive, you have Old Vindictive. I'm playing a combo deck. 24.
Alright. Okay, so... yeah, unfortunately that's my witch, so I'm gonna take 1200 there. Let's see, what can I retrieve? Truthfully, I don't have a whole lot of options here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take my Magician of Faith.
Alright. Knock down the next one.
That's gonna be my Sandgen. So I take,
So you'll take
18.
18. And then you'll go to 200 again.
God.
So, yep, after you resolve that, I will attack directly twice.
Alright, I'll add my Clayman.
On heroes, somebody has a Thunder Giant in their extra deck. Alright. Blow me out.
Alright, draw. Standby main. Ah, crap. Well, that's not what I wanted to see.
I mean, you have 9 cards in your hand. You have to have removal somewhere.
Well, I can at least
that'll-
activate this.
That'll stop me for a while.
Gonna set a card. Set a card. And I will pass.
Draw for turn, standby, main. Set one, and pass.
Come on, dueling book. Crap, did I crash?
Well, I'll just make things a little bit easier. During your draw phase, I'm going to activate Ring of Destruction.
Oh, okay. Well, once that pops up, I'll go there.
That's more in case Dueling Book crashes. There it is.
Yep, rejected by server. Try logging in again. Ah, crap. So yeah, okay, so yeah, that was Ring of Destruction, so we're just gonna go to game 2 then.
Yep. Yeah, see if you can get back in. Game 2, up a game again, but I'm sure this is where the side deck cards come into play.
Oh yeah, that went about, honestly, that probably went about as well as I was expecting, but it still ended up not at all what I was hoping for.
But yeah, I get the feeling that unlike in the previous match, there's probably some sideboard hate for this deck now.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Alright, so draw, standby main. Ooh, well, I actually get to start with a new card. So, out of my Dark Beginning 1 packs, I actually pulled this.
Well, it's a common. I'm not surprised.
So let's see what you got.
So now we both have Confiscation at least. So I hear this card is pretty good against combo decks.
Oh yeah.
What do you want? This hand's pretty good, ain't it?
I'm not seeing the hand, actually.
Could be DB lag.
Of
If it helps you make the decision, it's Nuzzler, Mataza, Ring, Benkai, Lightning Blade.
There we go. Nuzzler, Mataza, Ring, Benkei, Lightning Blade. Okay.
Is the Nuzzler what you're taking?
No, it just finally popped up.
Ah, okay.
So,
I didn't think so. I don't think there's a situation where the Nuzzler is the correct play.
I think I'm gonna take the Benkei.
Yeah, you have to take the Benkei.
Cause that is just holy shit.
I mean, Benkei was basically the Spanish Inquisition of its time.
Basically. Then we're gonna set a monster. And we're going to set 2 cards.
Draw for turn, standby, main. I'm gonna just set 2 and pass.
Alright. Well, I'm pretty sure one of those is Ring.
Could be anything. Got the heavy?
I don't have the heavy. I do have a Dark Blade, though.
Sure.
And let's go ahead and hit for 18.
18 in.
Main 2. I think I'm gonna just pass.
Draw for turn, standby, main. Thinking. I'll run him out there.
Alright.
Lightning Blade?
In response, I'm going to activate DNA Surgery. And I'm gonna call everyone is a machine monster.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Now, the question is, does Lightning Blade stay attached and do nothing, or does it actually go to the graveyard?
Because you're playing it in response. Well, actually, it doesn't matter if you're playing it in response. If you change Mataza's type, then the Lightning Blade just falls off because it
Okay.
can't be equipped. It is going to make me use my Nuzzler, though.
Yeah, I figured that one.
That's a pretty sick tech. I like that. Battle phase. 2K?
Alright, well, I'm going to activate my Spirit Barrier. So, I'll lose my Dark Blade, but I won't take any damage.
That's pretty good. I'll attack your set also.
And that is my Clayman.
They bonk. Go.
Alright, draw. Standby, main. Well, I got the swords.
You do have the swords.
And I'm going to set another card and pass.
Draw for turn. Stand by. Main. Set a monster. Pass.
Alright.
One turn on the swords.
Oh, right. I'm going to... Well, actually, this is kind of cute. I can run out my Sangan and actually crash into your Mataza since I won't take damage.
That is a way to proc Sangan. You got it.
So let's see, who can I retrieve?
That Spirit Barrier is doing a lot of work.
I think I'm going to add my Exile Force to hand.
Exiled Force, that's so bad.
Main 2. I will set a card and pass.
Draw for turn. Stand by. Main. Go.
Alright, that's turn 2 on swords.
I can't do anything under Swords of Revealing Light. I'm a combat deck.
Alright, I'm going to run out my Exile Force. And I'll use his any response.
Not to the summon window. Are you using priority?
Yes.
Yep. No. Yeah, he's gone.
Alright. Then... I guess I'll pass.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. I'm gonna... I think this might be the first time you've seen this.
Ooh, so you have a Rhoda. Okay. I mean, I'm not too surprised. I figure after all this time, if you didn't pull one, you must have probably wilded it, so...
That was one of the only good cards that I pulled out of Legacy of Darkness.
Kinda wish I had one myself.
I'm gonna get Sasuke.
Ooh.
Mostly doing this now just to deck thin.
Fair enough.
I guess I'll run this out too.
Ooh, Vilo, okay.
Go.
And swords have expired.
Yeah, get them out of there. So I can actually start attacking.
I guess I might as well go for it. I'm gonna run out my Dark Blade.
Sure.
And, come on. There we go. Go ahead and hit in.
I'm going to compulse your Dark Blade.
Ooh. Okay. So that goes back to my hand. Let's see. I guess I'll end my turn.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. I have a decision to make. I am going to prohibit Sakuretsu armor.
Oh. So you're still on prohibition. Okay.
I'm going to flip up my Moth. Target Nuzzler.
Ooh. Okay.
Run out Mataza.
Okay.
I'm gonna Nuzzler Vilo.
Alright.
Battle.
At the start of your battle phase, I'm gonna Threatening Roar.
T-Roar. T-Roar, yep. That'll do. Go!
Draw. Standby main. Okay. I'm going to start by activating Call of the Haunted. And I'm going to target my Exile Force.
Yup.
And Exile Force, priority. Let's go
that'll
ahead
get
and
him out of there.
Yeah. Do you want to use Nuzzler's effect?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Now I'm going to run out my Dark Blade.
Sure.
And as much as I really want to run in straight into your Moth, your Mataza is a bigger problem.
I will kill the Dark Blade this time.
Okay.
Get it out of there.
Main 2. And I will pass.
Draw for turn, standby main. Run out Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke.
Okay.
I'm gonna Black Pendant my Mataza.
Of course you get another fucking, equip. Okay.
Battle phase. Kill the Clayman.
Alright. So
And
that's gonna be
then
36, 39.
I think I'm actually gonna attack with everything, yeah. Even the Moth. Go!
Draw, standby main. Yeah, unfortunately you got it. There's nothing I can do. I could take out... Because I could take out your Sasuke or your Mataza, but then the other one just kills me next turn. I had another DNA surgery set.
DNA surgery... I have to admit, DNA surgery versus Lightning Blade was pretty cool, but that can't be the entire reason why you brought that in.
No, it actually wasn't. See, okay, so I sided out of it all, out of the main thing, but funny enough, the main goal of the deck to start with was actually the Moki Moki focus again, but running... Basically, I'm running, like, Insect Knight, Sea Serpent Warrior of Darkness, Dark Blades, just big beaters to work with, DNA Surgery to turn them into fairies, and then I had
Payoff, though.
And
that's a lot of normals. Are you on hearts?
I had heart, and then I also had the Smoky Moki setup, so I figured I could work that out, especially with Ultimate Offering, but I didn't see any of that shit to start with by the time you got Ben K out. And then game 2, I actually sided out of the Moki Moki stuff, and I kept DNA Surgery in specifically to deal with Lightning Blade and whatnot. But this is where I put in my Sakus, my Threatening Roars, my Book of Moon, and basically swapped out a lot of my monster, like a lot of my vanillas for like random, like other spells and traps to help me to basically figure if I could get rid of Ben K, you're going to clear out your hand, and I could take that time to go ahead and start hitting you myself, which
Yeah,
I got close,
that's the
but
drawback.
you ended up with a
That's
bunch
the
of
drawback with
cards
this
anyway.
deck. That's the drawback with this deck is if the Ben K kill fails, you really don't have a backup plan. That's why I brought the prohibs in, is to like set one to sack, set one to Book of Moon.
Yeah.
I didn't really care that much about T-Roar. Like T-Roar buys you a turn, but I have a lot of destruction negation.
Right.
But the prohibs are mostly just to stop things that will actually remove Ben K.
Right. So, so out of my Dark Beginning stuff from before, I did mention to you that I ended up hitting 3 Imperial Order over the course of the last couple episodes, and out of them, I ended up having to respin them into, well, one ended up the United We Stand.
Love to have that card.
And then 2 of them ended up...
Oh, if you're going to show me United We Stand, I guess I can show you this.
Oh, that's nice. And then I also ended up spinning into 2 of these guys.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Turns out that's actually pretty useful.
That's, well...
Well, it could be, but that was actually a side... That was actually a side part, too. I figured I could, metamorphosis a Moki Moki or a Moth into this, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, that would be really hard for me to deal with, because I have, I don't really have a lot of hard monster removal in this deck. I basically have to Compulse or Ring it.
And then there was actually... And then there was one more thing from Dark Beginning that I actually pulled that I was happy about.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's a rare, too.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. Granted, I didn't see it,
that card is nuts.
I was like, well, okay, I guess I got some hand destruction, and I got future ban targets for him to look at now, so...
Yeah, you do. So the only thing... No Ancient Gear Golem.
Oof. Yeah,
honestly, I wanted one Ancient Gear Golem because I've wanted to play Machine for a while, but like, you can't really play Machine without Ancient Gear Golem.
Yeah. Honestly, I had absolute shit luck when it came to Lost Millennium. Like, I ended up hitting, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 ultimate rares, but they were all of rares, and all of them I already had, I either had playsets of, or like it got me into that playset. And then the 2 hollows I hit that weren't ulti rares were a Hierarcho Sphinx, which I am never going to use, and goddamn Card of Sanctity. Like...
Well, I got a Master Monk, so that's not that much better.
I mean, at least Master Monk can make some use, but in fact, I was actually...
play it.
I was actually curious if you were going to turn around and try to, if you're going to try to pull the Master Monk strategy.
Nah. I do have to say that your bans at the end of DM were definitely effective, because I'm not going to be able to play a deck like that for a while now.
Yeah.
So with that...
Well, I guess it's time to go into prizes, so...
With that, I think I am going to open up some Dark Revelation 1 packs and see if I can snipe some of those commons I've been missing.
Good luck on that.
I can't believe I got...
Well, unsurprisingly, that resulted in an ass-whooping and a half. So we're back to the catch-up wheel. This is our 5th loss in a row, which really, really hurts. If we lose one more time and make it 6 in a row, we actually get to spin this wheel twice. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a good wheel, but at the same time, I want to get the 2 spins on the regular wheel, damn it. Well, hopefully next set will actually give us something to work with on that regard. But for now, let's go ahead and spin this wheel and see what we hit. I'll be happy with almost anything here. Are you kidding me? Wait, seriously? No, stop, stop, stop! Fuck! Oh, shit.